the summer of love.
It's Draco here, and today we are back for another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. For today's deck profile, we're going to be doing True Draco Demise because it kind of just recently solidified itself as potentially the best deck of the format, as it did win the YCS and had a huge standing in the top 32 and so forth. So it's looking like a really promising deck, and I've done a deck using the True Draco engine before. And I've done one using True King engine before, so might as well just go ahead and do a pure build of True Draco. I might do a pure, I'm not sure if a pure build of True King is possible. I'm sure it is. I might do that in the future, but for now, we're doing a pure True Draco Demise, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into it with two Masterpiece. This is the card that really puts this deck into a power position, because it's immune to the card effects of the card type used to tribute summon this monsters, because all the True Draco cards can be tributed using continuous spells, continuous traps, or monsters. So you basically get this guy to be immune to two different types of cards, and then on top of that, during either player's turn, you can banish one continuous spell or trap from your graveyard and then target another card on the field to destroy it. So it's amazingly good because it's a spot removal and 2950 attack, which is pretty much the strongest thing in the meta, except maybe Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. So it's really oppressive. And then for our smaller True Dracos, we play two copies of Majesty Maiden. Her effect is that when your opponent activates their card or effect, you can add a True Draco monster from your deck or hand, or from your deck to your hand. So you'd be able to add either your Masterpiece, another copy of herself, or your other True Draco, the last one that we play, Ignis Heat. And his effect is that when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can add a you can either add a True Draco continuous spell to your hand or activate a continuous spell from your deck. So continuous True Draco spell or whatever. So this makes it really good because you can set it or activate it directly to your field, and that can be really convenient. But I mean, also because that I don't think it can't be ashed once you do that. So because if you were to just activate it right away, it wouldn't be able to be ashed. So that's really convenient. And then next, what makes this deck so good right now is a mono Awato. If you draw this, you're pretty much set, because you can just normal summon it, and now you're hand trap proof. Because monster effects can't be activated except for spirit monsters. So that makes him really good, and he becomes tribute fodder once you have all your draw power set up. And speaking of draw power, we have our two Pot of Desires. It's a really good +1, and we play 3 of everything that's important in this deck, or pretty much. Then we have our other pot, which is 3 Pot of Duality. This is really good because it lets you dig into the top 3 and then just pick what you want. And then the best draw of the deck, 3 Card of Demise. That's why it's called True Draco Demise in the first place. And this is just really good because it's a draw 3. It's pretty much just a draw 3. I mean, with this one, you're probably not going to be getting that draw 3 as often. You're probably going to be drawing 2 more often if you have monsters. But if you don't have monsters, you can just set everything and then Card of Demise, and that'll help you dig for your monsters, which is really convenient. Next, we play the 1 Upstart Goblin, our last draw card, just because it's a really easy, making this deck 39 cards, which might not be necessary because of all the draw power in it, but I think it also helps dig deep for those monsters, because you kind of run a risk of breaking with no monsters. Then we play 3 Terraforming to search out our 3 Dragonic Diagram, which allows us to add True Draco cards to our hand. Then we play the 3 Heritage. This allows you to draw cards equal to the number of True Draco or True King card types sent from the field to the graveyard this turn. And then it also gives you another normal summon, and whenever it's sent from the spell or trap zone to the graveyard, you can MST something. So That's really convenient. It's even more draw power for the deck. And then we also have 2 disciples. I know most people play this at 3, but I think it works fine at 2. And the only thing that I might say actually is that I've honestly been thinking about cutting Heritage back to 2 and putting this at 3, but for now this is working. And this lets you target 3 True Draco cards in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, and then draw a card. Gives you another normal summon, and then it also counts as an MST when it's sent from the spell or trap zone to the graveyard. So it is really good, but it requires you to have a decent amount of True Draco cards in your graveyard. So that's sort of the downside, but the upside is that it is recovery for the deck and allows you to just keep playing. So it is really important for that reason. But we also wanted room for our 1 copy of March of the Monarchs, and you might want to, maybe you want to take this out for your other copy. That's fine. I just think that this is really important. This is personally for me, I think it's an important card in the deck. This makes it so that tribute summon monsters you control can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects, because when you have this on the field and Masterpiece, that would make it so that pretty much your Masterpiece is completely set if you used a trap and a spell for the thing, because most monsters do target, and this is just even more coverage for anything that would target or destroy your monster. So it's really good. And then we also have our 1 copy of Monarchs Erupt. You could also take out the March for another Monarchs Erupt, but I think this works at the 1. So you have to negate the effects of all face-up monsters on the field, as if they aren't tribute summon monsters. So the only reason why I played at 1 is because it's really bad in the mirror match. Well, it's not completely terrible, but it is pretty bad, because it means that you can't do anything against, or that it basically just becomes a dead card. But you can still use it for tribute material, which is always nice. So yeah. Moving on to our True Draco continuous traps, we have our 1 copy of True King's Return, which same thing, gives you another normal summon, and it allows you to specials. It's also a Call of the Haunted except in defense position. And then you can. It also works as an MST if it's sent from the. Oh no! You can target a monster. My bad. This is the one that targets a monster. I'm sorry. I apologize for messing that up. So you can target a monster on the field to destroy it. So that's really good too. Then we have our 3 Apocalypse. This one also targets a monster and destroys it. It's another normal summon, and it lets you target a True Draco card you control to destroy it, and the attack and defense of all face-up monsters your opponent controls become half their current attack and defense. So this is really good for getting over things, and then like I said, it's another normal summon, destroys a monster, and you know, that last effect. So it's a really good card. And then we have our 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance, because we can afford to play it. Going first, this is just so good to be able to activate it during your opponent's standby phase, and then when it comes back around to your turn, being able to tribute it, super good. 2 Rival Warlords, because for the most part, we're only ever going to have 1 type of monster on the field, which will be Worm. And that means that you can play this, and if your opponent is playing anything or has any combo pieces that aren't of the same type, oof, that's going to be rough on them. That means they're not going to be able to pull off their full combo. And if you're playing against a 60 card deck, you just ought to win. And then last but not least, we play the 2 copies of Storming Mirror Force. I think it's just really good to be able to, when your opponent would finally be able to attack you, to just say nope, and then get rid of all of their monsters. So, moving on to our side deck, we do play 3 Ghost Ogre. This is really good in the Pendulum matchup to get rid of their Electromite, or it's just good to play this in the side deck, because you never know if what your opponent might be playing, and this is sort of a good side if your opponent's playing an obscure deck as well, because you can just play this and get rid of their combo piece or whatever they end on. Then we play 3 System Down for ABC. 2 Cosmic Cyclone. You're going to be siding this in a lot. So the reason why you cite it a lot is because it's really good in the Pendulum matchup. It's good in the Mirror match. It's good in It's good against paleos. It's good against any of those more defensive decks. So you're going to be citing this in a lot. And then we also play 2 Called by the Grave. So you target a monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and then until the end of the turn, its effects negated, as well as the activated effects with monsters of the same name. So it's really good for stopping hand traps and other opponent's monsters. Then we have our 1 Stormforth. We side this in the mirror match. You can also side this in against a spam heavy deck that has a boss monster, because then you can just tribute their boss monster. It's really good in a lot of situations. We also play Raigeki. This Raigeki is going to help you a lot against something like World Chalice, because World Chalice doesn't really have a way to out a Raigeki entirely. Like, they're going to be able to survive it, but they're not going to, it'll shut down their board pretty heavily, and a lot of other spam decks are the same way. Then we have a Dimensional Fisher and a Macrocosmos. Since they're both a continuous spell and a continuous trap respectively, it means we contribute them so that we don't have to worry about our cards going to the graveyard, but we can use them on our opponent's turn to make sure that everything they would do would go to the graveyard. And then last but not least, we play 1 Imperial Order, which is just a hard kill to the Pendulum matchup, or it also is really good in the mirror match because they do play a lot of spells and other draw heavy decks or combo heavy decks that use a lot of spells. So that's pretty much it for this deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. This one was a little more straightforward, I guess. There wasn't a lot of rambling because this isn't a combo heavy deck. This is a draw into your beatdown deck. But it's still really good, and it's probably the best deck of the 4-hour match. Sorry, I just recently fractured my arm. Jesus, that really hurt. I twisted it in a weird way just now. Ow. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time, and as always, have a roaring good day.